Y'all already know what it is, man. It's your boy Mo 804.
And your girl Divine Earth for 1E.
And we are Married to the Miles. We are back with part 2 of things to consider before teaming. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Knew I got it right. Here we go. Yo, things to consider before teaming. There's many things to consider, but there are a few things that we think are pretty important, things that we've had to deal with probably a lot and work through. So we want to make sure that we give a little heads up, a little
attention to those details. Yeah.
What she said exactly. So where we at right now, man?
So I'm gonna just touch bases. I think this is where we left off. We talked about being independent thinkers. I think that was one of them. Being disciplined and having the ability to adapt. That was one of them. I'm not sure if we touched a lot on being resourceful, but I think we did.
It can be touched on again.
Less,
who can't take advice and being more resourceful, man? Right. Being resourceful and being adaptable and things of that nature is a key element to life.
Well, I mean, we can give you a quick example of being resourceful. You know, there are times you're going to be in spots where you're not able to get to the store, you're not able to get what you need, and you have to work with what you have. That might be beans, that might be noodles, that might be a can of tuna, that could be sardines, that could be crackers.
For us, it's definitely black beans.
If it's always candy or
always
whatever.
a can of black beans
Right.
all the way in the back of the cabinet.
Right. So with that in mind, we try our best to get things we know we can eat on a regular, as snacky as we can. If we can't get to a regular store, so that way when we find ourselves in those positions, we can keep it pushing.
Yeah, that's a fact.
The whole thing.
You know, everybody needs, I guess, a foundation to stand on. So when you are out here, you know, shaking and making your moves, sometimes you have to go back to the basics. And that could be some of the, like I said, basic elements. You might be out here eating fancy, what they call it, high on the hog and all of that good stuff. And it ain't about not having the money in your pocket.
Right.
It's about what's accessible to you. And when access is limited, you have to get a little creative. And sometimes you just gotta deal without.
Right. And, you know, it seems like nothing, but I think there's a little bit of selfishness of being able to do things the way you want to do it that you develop as a trucker.
Facts.
We'll talk about that more when we talk about team trucking for spouses and, you know, significant others. So, emotionally stable. Are you emotionally stable?
That's a big one.
It is.
That's a big one.
I can definitely touch on that. I think when I first came out here as a team trucker, I was not as emotionally stable as I am right now. But I'm a person that has had to deal under pressure, which is something I've also talked about.
Yeah.
And I was able to adapt, use my resources. I'm an independent thinker. I know how to live on less. And all of these things help me in my emotions. I know that might sound a little weird, but it helped me to work out issues and things, whether it was at home with family and be able to stay present as a trucker. Some people have issues that go beyond what I was even dealing with.
Right.
You know, just walking away from a career, my family, you know, them being younger and everything. And you do need to think about that. You need to consider all of that before you team. Because teaming has an element of isolation to it.
Right.
Like being quarantined.
I agree with that.
Right. And if you're not a person, like I'm a loner, he's a loner. But we like being alone with each other. And so everybody's not like that. Some people need that social peace. Some people need certain things to keep their emotional space. Mine was church. And I've been able to incorporate, you know, reading my Bible and doing what I need to do for me. He does what he needs to do for him. What would you say some of that is for you?
Some of the things I do?
I mean,
it's music for me.
Right.
You know, I like to zone out. I can reminisce from years ago, put myself in places that, I enjoy to be in, or experiences that I've enjoyed. Like, there's things that I can do internally to get me by, I guess,
Right.
so to speak. The emotional stable part is so crucial because, you hear the term, somebody woke up on the wrong side of the bed.
I'm glad you touched on that.
That sort of thing. But in the truck, when it's just two people, that wrong side of the bed can almost destroy.
Energy in the truck.
Oh man, like completely. So
We have this thing that we roll the window down. Like, we could tell when we wake up and it's just not right, or maybe
I
I'm
can tell when
edgy,
she wake up and she just ain't right.
Right. For majority of the time, y'all,
it's
he
like,
wakes
hold
up
up.
and he has a way better
Let's roll
attitude
these
than
windows
me.
down. Get this vibe up out of here and
Yes.
bring in some fresh energy, because I don't know what this is,
Right.
but it got to go. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And we'll talk about this more with teaming with your spouse or your significant other. There are things about females that you need to understand if you want to team with a woman. There are things you got to consider.
That's a fact. So
yeah.
little things like that, just trying your best to stay positive. I mean, it's going to be impossible to, live that all the time, because you constantly have, elements of your day, especially nowadays. We getting phone calls from home, so it's issues that are being dealt with all around us. So just because you're in a truck and are thousands of miles away from family, you're not always shielded or guarded from those realities.
Because we have two lives. We have our life on the road as truckers, and we have our life at home.
And they constantly...
always infusing themselves all the time. We've had multiple deaths since we've been on the truck.
We have. We've missed...
Just that came to my mind thinking about emotional things, and we both had to deal with it.
I think
individually and together.
We've missed 1, 2...
I
can only think of 2.
I had a cousin. I had an uncle. I had a cousin.
Okay,
that
then
died.
3. Because I just was thinking about the young lady
No,
that
I
you
had
attended
3
church
people
with.
that meant something to me that died. 4, because I have a friend from my past that died of cancer. Then I had my uncle, and then I had my cousin who died from asthma, and then I had a pastor, my first pastor. She died. I would have liked to be a part of that.
Right.
And
Then my cousin, one of my day one best friends from growing up, childhood friend.
Yeah, you took both of those hard.
But I was able to make one of the funerals. We happened to be, I guess, within a handful of miles, a handful of hours from Virginia, so we was able to double back and get home.
Yes.
But all of those other funerals that you spoke of,
Right, no.
we missed all the funerals. None of us couldn't attend any of them.
And we did that grieving process together in the truck.
Yeah. So you have to be. A lot of the people that she may have lost, I might didn't really know personally, but I have to be sensitive
Same here.
to what it is that she's dealing with and going through. So I know that day, or maybe the next day, or maybe the next day after that, the vibe is not going to be right. So,
And then understanding that as team, and depending on where you are in the country, you just might can't get there. So that's a tad bit of guilt thing that might come on you. And also, you don't know how your family is going to respond.
right.
I'll just mention this because I know that it's soon, but his mom's getting ready to retire.
Yeah,
We don't know
she
if we're
is.
going to be there.
Well,
I'm hoping that we may have to celebrate with her again. I don't know yet. We
Well,
don't know yet.
something like
but
that.
that's a huge thing. 40-some years.
but something like that, I think it'll possibly be more scheduled and be able to be,
Well, it is,
it'll
but
be able
it's
to be
still
set up.
you
so
wanting
we
to
can,
be there.
Yeah, but something like that, with it being planned, I just will
Right.
have
Oh,
to
yeah,
incorporate that into
Right.
what it is that we're doing.
So
But
that
we
might
talk
be a
about
different
death
setup. Yeah, which is
or just
unexpected.
accidents and
Right.
just various, turmoil situations that happen just in life in general.
Right.
You can't always plan for those things. You could
can't.
just come off home time, you get yourself 2 days of running, and then you get a phone call with some terrible news, and now you gotta decide if you're gonna try to double back. But then the funeral is not till a week from now, so do you sit at home for 8 days
Right.
waiting for the funeral?
Right.
If you try to go out and make a little bread, then you might can't get back.
Right.
Like, it's just little things that you're gonna have to consider, and having understanding family, because everybody knows what you do.
And being okay when they don't. That's
Everybody
a part to
knows
deal
what
with
you
as
do.
well.
I had an uncle that passed, and we tried to get home. Like, I think we came from Texas. We tried to get from Texas to Virginia in one drive shift. Like,
It was just a lot, though.
we went ham, back to back to back. Might have been
Trying to
further.
get
Might have
there.
been further than Texas, but I know we got into the Carolina area. It may have been 2, 3 in the morning. The funeral started, a few hours later that morning, and we just were burnt out.
Yeah, we were done.
And it's almost like, to try to get there, even when we get there, we're going to be done.
I think your dad called you and kind of eased you
I
up
spoke to
a
my
little
aunt,
bit.
my father, different family members, and it was more so like, bro,
We understand.
you tried,
Right.
and we did get there. We just didn't make the funeral
funeral,
itself,
right.
but we did make a special visit to my aunt.
We did. That was sweet.
We spent some hours with her, just us three,
To comfort.
and
Let her know we were there. Make
it
our
all worked
presence
out,
known. Yeah.
right? And as long as you can make an attempt to do that, but like I said, your family and friends know what it is you do. Most of them hate driving themselves, so to know you attempted to drive 12, 15 hours
Means a lot.
to get somewhere, it should mean a lot. I'll say
Right,
that. So
right.
that's just one of those things. But
And that's just our, some of our things of, dealing with emotional stability. But there
Right.
could be more that you could go into.
that's a fact.
One of the things too that I remember was conflict resolution. I don't know how much we talked about this, but I'll just tap into a little bit that comes to the top of my head. Being on a truck as a team, there has to be something in place for conflicts, because that can really ruin the experience, and it could cause you to have an accident or mess up, make mistakes, because you're gonna argue.
Oh yeah.
Two people with each other all the time, you're not going to agree on everything. It's just it's an impossibility. So you have to come to agreement. I think that one of the things that we have learned how to do in these years being on a truck is, when it's bad, we say, okay, we'll deal with this later.
Right.
Like right now, what you need me to do for things to be better. And sometimes that could be listening to something, or stopping, taking a break. We come to those conflicts and we resolve them together. But in your teaming experience, you might not be able to have it like that, and you got to figure that out.
And there's no quick fix to it.
No.
There's no 1 or 2 word responses that will make everything all right.
And you might blow up. I blew up on him a lot.
Yeah.
But we were stopped. We weren't driving.
Right.
And I want emotional stable.
I mean, hey, things happen, but
Yes, because I got mad. And when you get upset and you get really upset and you in that small space, it's like I can't move, I can't leave.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got to get this out.
I think everybody, any adult that's viewing this
Right.
will understand that.
Right.
And to be in the close quarters of a truck,
Right.
while issues like that are happening, it does compound the whole situation. So you have to know going
Create
into them
boundaries.
what the situations are, and
Right.
you have to be, I guess, respectful
Right.
to the realities of what y'all are dealing with. So if it's something that can be put off until we get this load off, I don't care if it's tomorrow morning, if it's tomorrow, what I mean?
Right.
Like, let's run this load, let's get this load off in the morning, and we'll come back to this conversation. And we might not take a load until it's resolved, because you don't want to let something fester. Now you got a load from the East Coast to the West Coast, and now you're gonna carry this thing for another 2 or 3
drive like
days,
that.
like
You
stuff
cannot
like
drive
that.
like
So
that. You can't be a attentive, with a defensive driver
when you dreaming,
when you're right.
you all over the place, mind all over the place. You reminiscing of old stuff that he or she did.
Right.
You creating all these different
Scenarios,
scenarios
yeah.
in your head of what you think may have happened when you don't even know. So
And
all
if
of
you're
those type
teaming
of
with
things,
somebody that you don't really know like that, or just say you're in a situation that you are teaming,
Right.
it could be even more awkward because now you don't even know the person like that, so you don't know why they're acting the way they're acting. They could be dealing with something that they don't feel like is any of your business.
Right.
So it's like, things to consider. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
And things to consider. It was something else that came to my head.
And just because
that we need to
you could be teaming with someone and just make the whole teaming aspect is hard for us to not make it personal because we've only
married,
really teamed
right.
with each other.
But
I can remember being on a trainer's truck.
Whew.
And, you may overhear a certain conversation that they're having on the phone and things of that nature. But you just got to know your place. It ain't for you, or it ain't your place to ask about it, to insert yourself in their life. If they bring it out and ask you a question or, give you some insight on what it is going on and maybe ask your opinion on it, then. But just because you share a close quarter with someone and you see them dealing or going through certain things, depending on what your relationship is, it's not always your place to even inquire about it. Just hush, know or hear what you hear, and let it die there unless they choose to bring it forth. So that's just something for us for that go. But like I said, it's hard for us to even have this conversation because we are a husband and wife team. We've been teaming together for 4 years now. So most of our examples are going to be
husband-wife situation.
Our stuff. So we're trying to keep it neutral, even though y'all know.
This is not on here, but I wanted to bring it up because it came across my mind. What happens when your teammate is sick or not feeling good?
Yes.
Man, that comes along with that's a conflict kinda.
It is.
Because depending on the type of load you on and the demand of the load, it could really ruin money if a person is sick to the point that they can't drive. But I think that as teaming, I think it's good to consider that kind of like being an entrepreneur or self-employed, as or just a hard worker. There are days you go to work and you're sick, and you just don't feel good and you got to push through. Now, if that's the situation, that's a whole attitude adjustment. That's being able to deal with, yourself and being able to communicate to your partner. Like, today is a rough day. It's not a mental thing. It's a physical thing. I really don't feel that great, but I'm going to push through. But then we need a break, or maybe I need some rest or whatever.
Well, I was about to say, like the old adage says, the show must go on.
Right.
Now, this is a very touchy situation or even question, because it depends on what and how your truck relationship bond, like it depends on just how y'all get down. Right. There's been times where she and I both been under the weather, but the money still got to be made. The load still got to be ran. Right. So without being sitting here and being ignorant, all I can tell you is whatever's necessary to get the load where it's going safely, on time, because that is what you've agreed to do, and within guidelines.
Do it.
You do what you have to do to get it where it needs to be. I'm not telling nobody to do nothing particular. I'm not telling you to do anything outside of what you can do in the realms of reality. But at the same time, understand what I'm saying. You do what you have to do to make on-time delivery, safe delivery, and to get the bag.
Also, too, this is the time that you have to use your common sense. You might want to reach out to your dispatch and say, hey, my teammate is not feeling that well. If you got a good relationship, and we have a good relationship with our dispatch, say, let me call and see if there's some wiggle room in there. Let me see if I can push those times a little bit, or just let them know, hey, they not feeling that great, but they in motion, they still getting there, or whatever language they need to use.
Right.
But use all your resources that you have. you may have an agreement that y'all doing 8-hour shifts and y'all not doing 11s or whatever. This is a day you're gonna have to do an 11. You know, this is a day that you might not be able to take your break now. You got to push your break off because you got to get further up the road. You know,
right.
This is things that you might want to consider, you know, just because that's what it is. That's what you got to do. Let's add one more in here. We're gonna
do what you got to do.
Yep, do what you got to do.
If you're anything like me, you're going to do what you got to do. And that just is what it is.
Good under pressure. I think that was one. Like, how good are you under pressure? Trucking is pressure. It really is.
It may not seem like it.
On so many different levels, though. It really is.
It is, because there's so much you have to consider. So
all the time, though.
You constantly viewing, you know, everything that's going on around you. Like I say, you have deadlines to meet. You have to be forward thinking in the sense of pre-planning. You got to kind of know what weather you're dealing with, that you're going to be going into. Even if it's a few days out, I got to know. If I'm leaving California going to the East Coast, I got to know what the weather is like there 2 days from now. So, you know, there are instruments and apps you can utilize to check up on those type of things. You gotta keep in mind time zone changes.
He had a situation where he had a day that was really, really, I mean, he's had more because he deals a lot more with the, you know, shippers and things like that, but he had a day that was rough because it was like, what was that day that it was like they told you to do one thing, then you go in there and they tell you to do something else, then you go to somewhere else and they say you're not supposed to be over here, then they tell you to back up in this door, then they say you done and the stuff is still in the trailer. Like, I mean, you can have a day that's just like, I'm done, like I'm so done right now, but you can't be. You done, but you're not done.
Right.
And that matters because honestly, outside of hubby here and what we needed to do for our finances as a whole, I could not. I wouldn't be a trucker. I didn't have to choose this. You get what I'm saying? And the level of pressure a lot of times depends on how much you're willing for how necessary it is for you. I'll give you an example. When we went to trucking school, when I went to trucking school, he was already on a truck and I had already closed my salon. We didn't have a B, C. We had a A. This is the plan. So it wasn't me going to the truck, going to school with the mindset that, oh, if I get it. No, I'm going to get it. And I was not playing. And it was a lot of pressure. They was hard on me. They treated me just like anybody else. It wasn't you a female is going to be any different. Like, I got the pressure to hammer down on me for real. And every minute of what I was doing counted because I had to get in because we had a contract. I needed to team with my husband. So everything was crucial. So I wasn't playing with it. I had my plunger shifting. I was studying. You know, I was not there to make friends, and I'm not being funny about it, but I had to. Like, it was people failing left and right. It was people going home left and right. That was not my option. I closed my business to do this. So it was a necessity for me. Right. You know what I'm saying? So.
And just real quick too, when you are in school, like she said, you ain't there to make friends.
No, you're not.
She had plenty of people in her class that she told me about, and you know they were talking and laughing,
drinking,
joking.
And
I'm just saying, her relationship with these people,
Mm-hmm.
it was cool while they was there, but you know that she's never seen or heard from any of these people since she left the school. So
maybe
they're not your friends,
through a
man.
Facebook post or IG or something like that, but no phone calls and things.
You know
like
what
that.
I mean.
But I'm just saying.
Go there and do what you gotta do. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. No, you're right. I mean, I'm just saying that, you know, there are times that you just gotta, you know, you gotta buckle under the pressure and do what you have to do. You gotta bring that same mindset into trucking. You know.
That's a fact.
And it happens.
That's a big fact.
This ain't the last one because, like I said, we're going to do multiple videos. And, you know, if we have to go over some stuff again, then so be it. This one is being teachable. I think this is very crucial to teaming, trucking, just in general being out here. Just being teachable. You know, don't come out here just because, even like now, I've been driving 3.5 years. He been driving 4 years. Don't feel like you know it all.
Shucks.
Don't feel like you can't, that
don't.
you cannot still be taught. Like, even to this day, and I'm saying it, I'm the one talking because I'm probably the one that deals with that the most, I think, because he's still my trainer, you know, even though, you know, I can drive without him. He's constantly, when he feels necessary, teaching me something that I need to know. And it is, I'll talk more about that when it comes to being a spouse and how that makes a wife feel. But
Right.
I definitely know that it's necessary because I can't play around with my life, other people's life. And if he sees me doing
Definitely not,
something, and he did have more experience than me from the beginning, plus I can admit he's a better driver than me, even in a four-wheeler. But I was like having to take my pride down a little bit because I own my business, so I was over me. So having to be in that situation where it's like, wow, I gotta go through this teachable moment, and then it's a teachable moment that continues to last.
That's right.
But you need to be that way. You need to be a sponge because we learn stuff from other drivers all the time. We see things, and I'm like, wow, I never noticed that, or I never knew that. And that's a good quality to have because you can't learn.
Indeed.
You can't grow.
I agree.
Yeah. So being teachable is huge for coming out, for teaming. Just trucking, period.
It's serious business. That's why
It is.
videos like this and many others can be helpful. And if you get even a little bit of insight, a little bit of clarity, and just a little bit of added confidence to go at this thing and get out here and make it happen, you know, it's worth it. It happened for me. I had a lot of videos that I watched that motivated me. Mm-hmm. Same here. And then she had me to motivate her. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's a constant.
And I watched some other women.
Yeah, but it's a constant thing.
Right.
That's why we do this. So
now I will piggyback that we are gonna do a video. He'll be in here with me, but I'm gonna be talking about things that, you know, to get your wife teaming with you, and there's a side to that as well, because you know that after you become an adult, I ain't saying that you can't be teachable, but don't nobody want to be told what to do all the time. So there's a way, you know.
Yeah. So those will be a video, like she said, that she's gonna spearhead. That's just dealing with talking to men on how to get their women on the truck. All the little sensitive and emotional and all the little aspects of it.
It's not all emotional, but it's just about, like, if you want
men
your
need
wife
to understand
on the truck,
there's a certain angle, a
things,
certain
right.
way to go at making that happen. So if you're not in tune, you may miss it, fellas.
Because we saw the request, and I'll mention her when it's time to do the video about teaming with your spouse. So yeah, definitely.
So this was part 2, man. Part 2 of things to consider before teaming. Hopefully we added on again this time. Hopefully we just didn't sit there and regurgitate stuff that we said on the last time, because I can't front. We didn't even watch the last video in a while, so I don't really know. So like I said, hopefully y'all got something from this, man. We're gonna continue to bring y'all more videos as it relates to teaming and just a unified life out here on the road. But y'all continue to be safe. We'll do the same, man. This is your boy Mo 804.
And your girl Divine Earth 1E.
And this is Married to the Miles. Chippy down here. If you heard him grunting and breathing and doing everything that he does,
Did not want this video to be great.
that's Chippy, man. So hopefully y'all got something from it, and we'll see y'all on the next one. All right?
Deuces.
Peace.